Hello, I'm finally getting around to uploading my Noble Knight update for the September 2020 ban list. Uh, this video is going to be a little shorter than the other guides because the core strategy and processes haven't changed much. Just going to touch on the new combo path, new ratios, and thoughts on the deck and the format. So to start off with the new ratios, I have moved to an even higher extender density, returning a little bit to the build style that we used before Infernoble is even released. The reason being that this format, we are still seeing large numbers of hand traps in the main and larger negate boards, and so being able to play through two disruptions is something of a mandatory, and having more generic extenders helps to do that. I also needed more tuners to help enable Assault for 9 more reliably. So we have taken a little bit of a utility cut. We're seeing Tristan move to the side deck, and our normal summons have been decreased with Boars and OGA both at 2, Madral still at 3. But we get 2 Shades now, 2 Flint Ladies, we have Hornet Jones, Stolfo, and 3 Arborea for extenders. So, there's definitely, there's trade-offs here, drop utility. Now, with O-Line gone, we had to switch to Rose Dragons. So we have red and white in here. They are not true garnets in hand. They can still be used, but you'd rather them be in the deck, obviously, because otherwise it's fewer cards to work with. It does take one more main deck slot than O-Line, but you get 2 extra deck slots in return because you don't need Marcher anymore and you don't need Stardust Charge Warrior, which gives a little bit more utility that you can build for. So we have Trishula in here as a response to double negate on Fibrax and Assault, and Riser into Savage is another line of play I'll explain in a moment. The best of builds should be fairly understandable. There's no other real radical changes. I think Brothers was already at 1 last time I did one of these, but in case it wasn't, dropping him to 1 does reduce the grind potential, which is unfortunate, but really only comes up in longer games. At least in the current format, I have found your games don't go long enough to really need the second one. You can loop with just 1, but it's a lot harder. You have to make rank 5, shuffle it back with Brothers, then make the rank 5 again, float into Brothers, shuffle it back, make it, float into Brothers, shuffle it back. It's tricky. It's doable. In general, you're not going to bother with it. You generally win quick enough that 1 loop through of all your kings is enough. Now, we'll get to the combo in a moment, but on the topic of Arborea, so the reason she's here, I need a level 3 for Riser first of all, but also, so being able to Assault for 9 is great, but you can only do that if you have a tuner in hand, so I want another tuner that I could summon onto the Assault. So Arborea is that, meaning Arborea, Renat, Ogier, Glory, Durandal, Rhoda, and Heritage, all serve as tuner bodies I can summon. So it's like 19 tuners that I have in hand that I can drop. Alright, as far as build then, that mostly covers the changes. I'm going to get into the plays here in a second. I do know that this build works well. I actually got first at locals with it last night, beating Invoked, Dogmatica, Eldritch in the finals, so that was fun. The only change from this being that I actually took the Herald out in favor of an Unce in order to, because I had a strong feeling I'd face Dogmatica, and Herald is now optional, so let's get into that. With the extra deck, the big additions are we see Trishula, Riser, Savage added. Now, Herald is no longer commonly made. It used to be we could make it most games. Now, instead, we generally make Savage. The typical end board is Charles, Savage, and Gearfried, and sometimes you get something else in there. So this is a flex spot now. Trishula is so that if let's say they hand trap your Assault, and then they hand trap your Fibrax, and so you're stuck with Fibrax and 2 tokens. If you can't do anything else with that, you can stall Fibrax into Riser and 2 tokens into Trishula, and then you get a a banish on hand, field, and grave. So it's another way to keep playing through disruptions. It's optional, but it's a fun play. Now, Riser and Savage is what have replaced Herald in the main play. So just like before, getting Herald out required you have an extra level 4 body. This does too, however, it's actually easier because the body can come at any point in the combo. You don't have to worry about your zone filling up. So Riser will send a 3, then Synchro with 4 for 8. And I'd say like 80% of games you can get Riser, Charles, or Savage, Charles, and Gearfried. The rest of the time, if you just can't get to it for some reason, maybe you got hand trapped, you still have the option to go for the second roll and for the search. And so I'll demonstrate the Rose Dragon combo in just a moment. Alright, let's go ahead and get started here. So we're going to go ahead and lead with Die. Go ahead and do our search, and as I still like to do brothers if I don't have anything else in particular I want. Go for 9. Now, this hand I don't have in arms, and I don't have engrave. I have Phoenix Plate, of course, but only one warrior. So in cases like these, I like to go ahead and do my Link Cross now. Reason being, I don't want to, I haven't normaled yet, so I still have full combo if they drop Nibiru on me. And I don't want to extend any further until I can make myself Nibiru proof, so I will go ahead and Phoenix Blade. If I hadn't used like Shade, if it was a second warrior, I could have done that before him and been completely Nibiru proof, but this is the next best thing. Now that that's done, go ahead and grab a tuner, and Renaud is always a good choice. And in this case, I actually want a Hot Clear back. But if I didn't have, I have my normal left, so I can get my level 4 for Savage. If I didn't, I'd get Fossil for level 4. But I want Hot Clear because I'm going to set up the Hot Clear play. Now, another level 4 you can use here is Gawain, actually, because these are like normal monsters. So you can summon the Gawain from your hand on these guys. It's another way he's really useful. So with the Rose Dragon play, you're going to 5 Rex into Red Rose and Synchro for 5. And you always want to do Red Rose Chain Link 1, roll in Chain Link 2. Get your White Rose. And we're going to go ahead and normal OGA. And mill the trap. Get a Hot Clear in play here. Go to end phase, do the standard rolling, so we're going to send an equip, search something. I like to have a Gear Freed live for next turn. And we'll use Charles. We're going to grab our Smoke Grenade and our Protection Knight. Then of course pop the smoke and rip something from your hand. Now, on their main phase, what we're going to do, in Sim you have to press this to open a window. Going to 5 Rex into Riser. And Riser will send a 3. And the other thing we can do, because we have this set up, is the trap into Bedouin. Send the 3 to make him 4. Now, and you can use this as your 4 if you need to. In this case, we do not. That's how you get your Savage out. So here we have Charles for a pop, Gear Freed for a negate, Savage for a negate, and Bedouin to use the Hot Clear play. So if they summon like a tuner that they're going to use to make 5 Rex, Bedouin move Hot Clear onto that tuner, then when they make the 5 Rex, you get to pop the 5 Rex for free. So that's just the other cool interaction you get. So that's a pretty good board. And we got Gear Free ready for next turn. We got double summon into custody to break anything they do put up. Like there's really not much they could have that would beat this board. So that's how the new Rose Dragon works. Let's go ahead and draw a new hand. Fantastic hand, of course. I don't really need to explain that. So here we Durandal. Because if they Ash or Impermanence or Veiler on here, or Ogre, anything they do in here except Gamma, Gamma's the most deadly, then I can just go ahead and do the search. Even if he's destroyed, I'll still, because what I'm going to go into is Renaud. then Ronald's going to get that right back. Give him a message. So we'll go ahead and do our sold. What do we want to search? Well, we already have our brothers, and we already have our tuner. So in cases like this, I'd probably go ahead and grab, I still kind of want the option to use Renaud off this, so we'll grab a Magus. It's good to have to pitch with the Oliver to set up for next turn. And go ahead and do our 9. We'll do our Durandal. I could leave it, but I would like Renaud. So let's go ahead and do Phoenix Blade. I don't need either of those in the grave anymore. Just to make sure we keep Gearfried alive. Now, if we didn't have the option of doing that, we could have just left Durandal on and used Oliver instead. Okay. Then we go ahead and send in 2. And let's go ahead and get our level 4. Since we had already used Renaud, we couldn't grab fossils, so we'll grab a Gawain. And actually, we have another option here if we really wanted to. We could take these two into... I'll go ahead and demonstrate that, actually, why not? So here we have the option to go for Savage, but let's say we want to make sure that we have Protection Lab a little earlier. We can go... Alright, so here we could take these two into Herald, summon Rose Dragon, and then go to Charles using Oliver. If we need one more zone, like if we didn't get the Gearfried off for some reason, we could still do Charles and Herald. But in this case, because of zones, we don't really want to do that. So you would still want to go for the Gawain play. Is it recording? Accidentally clicked stop. Alright, so red, white. And here I grab a Gearfried. And that's that. So, kind of final thoughts on this build and the format. I mean, I still think it's better than Pure, more than ever, actually. The Banlist didn't really affect the deck too much. The shift and end board has not been drastic. We used to have slightly less card advantage going to turn 3 now than we used to, but we still have enough to win games reliably. Pure Fire, in fact, its main boards that aren't even any better than ours now. Gearfried Savage Charles is not any weaker than what they're doing. So I really do think Hybrid is the better deck overall. The toolboxing options you have and the extension options you have, especially through the Kings, remain phenomenal. Once again, it's great for recursion, and it can be shuffled back by Magus, so you have a loop there. The one thing that Purifier has going for it is that in the 40 card builds you can easily see side deck cards, and you can run hand traps if you want, but I don't think that's a good enough trade to make up for the increased frailty. That's my personal opinion, but as always, play whichever build is best for you. That's about everything I have to say right now. Sorry it took so long to get this out, but I've been pretty busy with uni. I will probably do some kind of quick replay example to show it in action in the next couple of days when I have some more time.